Hi, welcome to Sacktown Royalty TV. I'm Greg Wissinger. Today around SB Nation NBA, we're reviewing this past off-season's free agent moves. So I'm going to go through that for the Kings here today, which means we're looking at Aaron Brooks. But just so this won't be entirely depressing, I'm also going to talk about Jason Thompson. While he wasn't really a free agent acquisition, he was a big off-season re-sign. So I'm going to do that because I'm making up the rules as I go. But first, let's talk about Aaron Brooks. If we go back to the summer, it made sense why the Kings acquired Aaron Brooks. Jimmer Fredette looked completely lost last year. Completely lost. On the court, his decision-making, his ball handling, he just looked like a deer in the headlights. Even in the Summer League, when he was starting to put up a little bit of numbers, he still didn't look like he really had a grasp or would be ready for the NBA. It made sense to bring in Aaron Brooks. Yeah, he was a duplication of what they had in Jimmer Brooks and Isaiah Thomas, but it still made sense to have that point guard depth. And the contract that he was signed to, even now, it doesn't look terrible. Aaron Brooks was signed to what essentially was a 2-year deal. The first year was the guaranteed year this season. Next season's player option. If Aaron Brooks plays well this year, then he's going to opt out and the Kings aren't out anything. If he doesn't play great and decides that the open market's probably not going to be too enticing, he sticks around at a low cost to the Kings. From a contract standpoint, it was not a bad sign. On the court, the rotations, that's where it becomes an issue. A lot of our frustrations have been around the rotations that Keith Smart has used and the different lineups, and particularly the point guard position. You're trying to find minutes for Isaiah, Jimmer, and Aaron Brooks, along with, when they're healthy, Tyreke Evans and Marcus Thornton at shooting guard. So you've got a lot of guys, and Smart has not necessarily handled the minutes as well as we would have liked, or at least not the combinations most of us would prefer to see. But even there's been moments when Aaron Brooks has looked okay. There's been moments like that week when he shot 70-something%. If he could keep that up the entire season, I think we'd all be pretty happy with the signing. Unfortunately, he has not done that. Now, some of that seems to coincide with Tyreke Evans going down. So he was playing pretty well when paired with Tyreke Evans. I'm interested to see if maybe he starts to look a little bit better once Evans is back full-time in the lineup. But until we know for sure, we just got to wait and see. All in all, I'd say most of us wish that Jeff Petrie had just not pursued his dream of having Aaron Brooks. Jeff Petrie wanted Aaron Brooks as far back as the draft and has pursued him as a free agent or through trade talks in past years. Well, he finally got him. And you know what, Jeff? I hope you got out of your system. We don't need this guy around anymore. The minutes would be better used developing Isaiah Thomas and Jimmer Fredette. Because really, while Aaron Brooks hasn't been that much better or worse, all things considered, the three guards have been relatively similar. They have a lot of the same strengths, a lot of the same weaknesses, but Brooks doesn't have any upside. He's not going to turn into anything more than what he is now. That's where we are with Aaron Brooks. Jason Thompson, on the other hand, I'm including him just so that this isn't the most depressing video post ever. Jason Thompson, there were some concerns amongst us. This offseason, when he was given that contract, we wondered, would he be overpaid? Was it yet another instance of Jeff Petrie overpaying a guy just out of loyalty like he did with Francisco Garcia, whose contract, Cisco's been playing a little better the last couple of weeks, but his contract's still not a good contract. Jason Thompson looks like he's living up to that contract. Jason Thompson is efficient, he is reliable, he's the most reliable player on the Kings this year, without question. I know not everyone on the boards in Sacktown Royalty is totally in love with him, but for the most part, I think most of us fans agree that Jason Thompson has lived up to his contract, lived up to our expectations, and then some. He's not flashy. He doesn't put up the huge box scores, but he's great at just fitting into the team and whatever the team's doing. He gets his points, he gets his rebounds, he helps the team in the little ways. He's the cleanup guy, and it's a great thing to have him on the team. So, all things considered, was it a terrible free agent period for the Kings? I mean, Jason Thompson was really nice resigning, and Aaron Brooks, for as much as we complain about him and as much error as he draws around the boards, he hasn't been a complete disaster. It's not like he has a huge, horrible contract that's going to hurt the Kings for years. It's a short-term problem. It's just we've got a lot of other problems too. So things could have been worse. Of course, there's also things could have always been better. In free agency, there were a lot of big names out there, and the Kings pursued Aaron Brooks. So you win some, and you don't chase others because you're broke, I guess. New mantra for the Kings. All right. Well, that's all we're going to do for tonight. If you have any thoughts, if you disagree with what I said about Brooks, about Jason Thompson, go ahead and leave us a note in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of these videos.